AI Power Shift. The motto behind today's event is how artificial intelligence is changing the balance of economic and technological power. Also, India is emerging as a major player because of its large digital population, strong IT service base, deep engineering talent, and fast growing startup ecosystem. However, at the same time, India still faces challenges such as uneven access to high end infrastructure, limited original frontier model development compared with the countries like US and China, and gaps in research to commercialization. On the global platform, AI will not come only from building models but from using AI strategically, investing in talent, data, sector specific solutions, responsible governance, and scalable products that solve real problems across the markets. In this shift, India's biggest opportunity is to move from being a back office technology hub to becoming a creator of relevant AI products, platforms, and business models globally. To throw more light on this, let's start with the first session, Introduction and Overview, where India stands in innovation and patenting in AI. With a huge round of applause, please welcome on stage Mr. Harikrishnan G.
Good evening, everyone. It's really a pleasure to be here. Today, I'm going to discuss on a very specific question where India stands in innovation and patenting AI. You know that we are an intellectual property firm, so our data and analysis is completely based on the patents. Okay, so let's start with. Currently, we are using multiple AI tools, correct? We are using multiple tools and we are talking about AI. Even this summit, we are talking about AI. But actually, is it what we require? Like simply using some AI models or talking about AI, is that what we require? We actually need to create, or we actually has to be the creator of AI, not just using AI. We have to be the creator of AI. We should be in a position that we should jump from where we use AI to creating AI. And why this topic is relevant is because I think in AI in India, like in 2020 or something, this AI revolution started, right? If I'm correct. So there was a huge shift in technology, correct? Earlier it was simply, whatever we are making, that will be easily recognizable that, okay, this is AI, this is made from AI. But what is the scenario right now? If I look into some videos or anything, I won't be able to distinguish whether that is actually AI made or, it is original or not, because I am not able to distinguish it. So that much progress we have made in AI technology. And in the future, we should not be a country where we simply uses this AI technology. Instead, we have to be the creator of AI. We should not be simply using it, because since many years India was in the back office, right? India was simply providing support. We write codes, we does everything, but everything that goes to some foreign companies, we are not doing for ourselves. Now it is time for us to change from being a service provider to some ownership, correct? And in the last AI summit, we know that there were some controversies happened in the last AI summit. I'm not going deep into that, but there was some issue with the ownership of a particular technology, because we should not be, or India should not be a country who should be representative, like who should represent like, okay, we are only using some AI tools. Instead, we have to go from using to someone who owned that technology. Everyone knew that in the last AI summit something happened, correct? So I'm not going into deep, but this is what we need to cover up. And in the future, India has to be someone who has to develop some actual AI innovation concept and everything, and that has to be protected also. not simply using AI, not talking about AI, but building AI and protecting it. Obviously, when it comes to protection, AI has to be protected using patenting. So innovation and patenting has to go hand in hand. So that is why we comes into the picture. I will quickly show you where India stands in, or just a minute. So I'll show you where exactly we are when it comes to patenting AI technology. You see this chart? 65% of the patents are owned by China. 18% of the patents are owned by US. And India, we only have only 1.5%. Means you see the difference. China is having 65%, meaning it is very concentrated in China and in US also. India, we are in the bottom stage, I guess. I mean, obviously we are innovating things, but still we are in the bottom stage. We have to be, if we have to be the market leader, this graph has to change. This should not be the scenario. Maybe in the 5 years down the lane, or after 5 years or 2030, if we run this summit, okay, at that time this should not look like, okay, China is still 70% having this patent portfolio, and US having 20, and India still in 1.5. That should not be the scenario, right? We have to change it. If we look into China, they were also a consumer nation, just like India. 12 years back or 15 years back, they were also a consumer nation. They were not having, many foreign national investment and everything was happening there, and they were not having their own something, right? But that has shifted. In the last 10 years, that has shifted. Now it is not, China is not anywhere like, we cannot compare it with India because they have grown that much substantially, correct? Even in technology, even in AI, if you see this picture, this shows that 65% means it's so huge. So when a company or when a country doesn't own this IP, when I say IP, it strictly means to patent. Okay, when a country doesn't have this patent, what happens is we have to borrow it from that particular country. Okay, that is what we call as a technology tax. That is so huge in India. I'll tell you with a very simple example. 5G technology. 5G technology was or is still owned by many foreign companies like Ericsson, Qualcomm, and Nokia. Okay, they own this 5G technology. They laid the foundation for 5G technology. And if I, as an individual, I started a startup, okay, and I made a device, and I wanted to use this 5G technology to interact with the tower to do some action, okay, I can get an IP of that. I can get the patent of that particular product. I can get whatever I want. But the thing is, if I launch the same, if I launch it in India, if I want to market that product in India, since I'm using the 5G technology, I have to get the license from these companies because they own the IP. Correct. So this is what we call as technology tax. This has to be, this should not be, or what I would say, this is a bad scenario for India. This should not happen. At least after 5-10 years, this should not be the case. So that's why we have this kind of AI summit where we are giving a lot of awareness on AI and how we have to patent an AI because AI is the future. So we have to protect. Somehow we have to protect this AI. India should not be paying technology tax to some other foreign countries for using an AI. That should not be the case. Instead, we have to be the creators of people has to borrow from India. That should be we have to make it like that. Correct. And if you look into China, this 65%. What they did with patent is they secured their IP, or they created an entry barrier. Okay, means earlier what I would say is foreign companies or US companies, they will try to file patents in China, or they will try to file a patent in India, and they will get the technology tax, like what I said earlier. But China created an entry barrier for these companies. So now what happens is, even if companies try to penetrate into China, okay, and they try to establish the markets, because of these patents, they won't be able to fetch anything, because China already owned this patent. So even if they file some patents, they can easily replicate things because they own the IP. Even if someone comes and argue that, okay, I will put a case or infringement on this, that's not going to happen because they own particular IPs. So if they want to use it, they can use it. No one can take an action on this. So that's how China secured their market. At least they tapped there, or they secured entire Chinese market. Even if they are not exploring US or Indian market, but still they tapped China market entirely. So that was the reason why China is growing. But if we look into the case of India, it's not the same. Still, foreign companies, they are investing or they are filing patents in India, and they are only getting technology tax. So that should be changed. And in US, what happens is they only have 18%, but their quantity doesn't matter because they will go for quality. Just like I said, they will lay the foundation for 5G technology. They have this technology, and they got the patent for this. So what happens is that becomes an SEP, standard essential patent. If someone wants to use that particular technology, that will become SEPs, and they have to get the technology tax. So that is what the difference between what China did and what US is doing. And India, we can we can do either one, or we can try doing both. I'm not sure how we have to do it, because either we have to pile up a lot of patents, or we have to create SAPs. But according to me, I will always say, okay, we have to go with SAPs, because that's where the actual revenue could be generated. So in the case of AI also, how we can create an SCP, standard essential patent, because we have to create our own models or our own AI technology. So that should be the foundation for someone in US. Okay, if they have to work on that, that should be the foundation. So that way we have to protect the AI. I'm not so sure how exactly we are going to do it, but still we have to do it in this manner. Okay. See, these are some publications or granted patents in AI. See, it's almost 61% is granted in China, because China usually they have this utility patents. So whatever utility, if a technology do have some utility, they will go and get this patent grant. Similar in case in US, they have almost 20% in grant in US, and India 1.5. We are only filing 85,000, and out of this only 1.5% is getting granted. See how, what's the difference? And AI publications, we are publishing a lot of documents and everything, but that's not actually generating any value. Simply publishing things will not fetch any revenue or anything, right? We have to commercialize things, then only we are getting the actual value out of it. AI startup funding, the number of startups, yeah, compared to 2020, it has increased a lot, but still, if you compare with US and China, we are still lagging behind. Even though we have a lot of opportunities, we have a lot of data and everything, still we are lagging behind US and China. So all this sounds like what exactly is the strength of India? We have a lot of people. That is our biggest strength. 1.4 billion people, and I not say that okay 1.4 billion people are the workforce, but at least 50% of them are workforce, right? We have a lot of people, but still we are not able to create the value what other countries are making. Even though we have a lot of workforce, we work for US or we work for other country foreign companies. That should not be the case, right? We have to develop our indigenous companies and we have to support them instead of supporting. See this in talking, okay, this will happen, but I'm not sure in reality this may happen or not because uh, almost all the top talents or top brains they are being acquired by these foreign firms. So because of that, whatever things they are doing or whatever value they are creating, the Indians, whatever value we are creating, that will go to the foreign firms. So talent retention is something what we could say, and a first step that we have to taken care of. We are the second largest open source contributors in the GitHub. We provide a lot of open source codes and everything, but that's not actually creating a value for us because all those top talents who are sharing this source codes or uh, uh, they it is owned by these foreign companies, especially MAG. I would say MAG stands for Meta, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, and Google. These are the companies which retain this top talent, so they are generating the value, not us. And another biggest strength is our data and opportunities. India is not a copy of West, correct? We are not a copy of West because the geography differs, the language differs, the problems. India's entire problem is different. Okay, we cannot say that it is same as the West. If West create a model and if they try to implement in India, okay, that may or may not work, but in most cases I would say it won't work because the problem solved in West is not actual problem in India. So even if they try to solve a particular problem, that won't be solved in India. So we know what problems India is facing. We have these opportunities, but why we are not encashing that? We have to look into India's real world problem and then because Indians know what the problem of India, right? What the problems in India, not the West. So we have to solve these problems and use AI to solve these problems. Correct. Why we have to depend on some other AI models or AI technologies from other companies who doesn't even know what exact problem is with India. We have to change that, right? We have different languages. We have different healthcare, architecture, agriculture, financial things. So these are all different when we compare with West. Indian languages, like almost 30 languages. If someone says that, okay, I need a translation of Hindi to English, if I use, okay, I can use ChatGPT or Gemini to translate it, but is it getting exactly the same? I don't think so. We are not getting it. Correct. I think we, Indians also, we have made some AI models for translating, but this is just a hypothetical example I'm saying. Because we know the problems, so we have to solve this. Correct. And another strength is infrastructure. Earlier, in 2020s, we were not having this much AI infrastructure. We required a lot of hardwares for computing power. We require large hardware models and everything. But in 2025, it has changed, I guess, because Indian government at least they are supporting in developing this AI structure. So we have this ecosystem, or we have this AI infrastructure right now. So we have to utilize that too. Now we have talent, we have opportunities, we have this infrastructure. But one more thing we have to overcome. and that is Section 3K of Indian Patent Act. What Section 3K says is software per se or software by itself cannot be patentable. We cannot patent it. Unlike in US or in China, they can easily patent an AI solution or they can easily patent a software solution. But in India, that's not the case. We have to, there is a section called 3K which explicitly says, we cannot patent software per se. So AI, as you know that software is involved, right? So we cannot, if I want to patent an AI, we have to cross this hurdle as well. If, these are just hypothetical example I'm saying, okay. If someone comes and says that, okay, my AI can detect a particular face, okay. Can I get a patent on that? No, we cannot get a patent on that. The thing is, Indian Patent Office, they will consider that as simply data processing. They will say that this is just you are just doing mathematical calculation, so there is no actual technical effect in this particular invention. So they will reject that patent. We will not get a grant for this. Instead, if I use, we all shoot videos in smartphones, right? Okay. If we shoot video for a long time, your battery is going to drain. Correct. If I invent something related to AI which can solve this battery drain issue, okay. If I invent something where if we prolonged this shooting hours, if I am not able to, if my smartphone is not draining the battery, we are solving a technical problem there. That AI solved a particular problem there. Correct. So that could be patentable. Instead of saying that, okay, I have this mathematical calculation and this this will increase the battery life of this smartphone. If I provide only the algorithms or the mathematical model, they're not going to patent. They're not going to get a grant for this patent. Instead, we have to show them that there is a technical problem. We solve that technical problem by something which has a technical effect or which contributes to overcome that specific technical problem. If we project it like that, then definitely we can get a patent grant. So this is something which every companies who is into software or who is into AI, that they have to take care or they have to deal with this. Current patent reality check. See, we have almost 86,000 AI filings since 2010, and the grant rate is less than 1% for pure AI patents. Why this grant rate is very low is because one thing is they haven't projected their patent saying that we are solving a particular technical problem. Instead, they simply show that, okay, we have a mathematical calculation or a data processing. So they try to protect it by just using that algorithm. That won't work out. Okay, so that may be the reason one of the reason to get it rejected, or there could be multiple drafting errors because we are not able to project it in a particular way that, okay, this could be protectable. If we haven't projected saying that we have a technical effect with this particular thing, okay, you will not be able to get a protection on that. I'll tell you with one more simple example. I developed an engine, okay, and for example, motorcycle engine, okay. The already established speed limit for a motorcycle, maybe it could be 200. This is just hypothetical, just for your understanding. Okay, we have a limit for 200 kilometer speed, and if I run this to 200 kilometer speed, okay, my fuel efficiency is less like 10 kilometers. What I'm getting. I develop an engine where I can go beyond 200, let's say 300, okay, 300 kilometers per hour, but the fuel efficiency remains the same. Meaning, even if I increase the speed, my fuel economy remains the same. So, usually, in a typical scenario, if we increase or if we are going in a higher speed, definitely our fuel efficiency is going to get reduced. But if that is not getting reduced and I used some AI technology to control the valve timings. Let's say if I control the valve timings of opening a particular valve for this fuel supply using AI, that is patentable because we overcome a technical problem there. So that's how we have to project our patent. That's how we have to get a patent. But instead, if you are simply projecting that, okay, I have mathematical calculation and with this calculation I can increase the speed of my engine, but it is not getting ready. I mean, the fuel economy remains the same. If I project it like that, I won't be getting a patent for that. Gen AI now accounts for nearly 15% of all new AI patent applications highlighting cutting-edge. See, I'm saying that we have an increased filing rate in AI, but only thing is we are not getting the success rate or we are not getting the grant rate for this. So we have to increase the grant rate. This is what our requirement is. Unlike in US or China, they don't have a particular policy like this that even if we apply for a software patent, they can get it granted. But in India, we have to overcome this hurdle. Next is we have a lot of barriers other than this Section 3K. I know that everyone over here knew about multiple barriers because you are all industrial expert in AI. Okay, so you know the actual barriers other than patenting. One could be funding, or uh, for developing a successful technology. It's not easy to develop it with doing some jugaad like uh, in a year or something. If we invest something, we are getting a lot out of it. It's not like that. Like it won't work like that. If you look into US and all, they started this funding at the time of R&D. Whenever they start developing a product, at the stage of R&D itself, they started investing, and they invest a lot in R&D. Unlike in India, they invest a lot in R&D. In India, R&D investment is comparatively like 1% of what US people are doing. So we have to invest a lot in R&D, and then only we will be getting an actual value, actual product which can give us the value. Correct. So we have to cross this barrier as well. Funding, and second thing is talent trade. I already mentioned that how this MAG is retaining this talent, but why Indian people are not able to, or Indian companies are not able to retain the talents? Because this thing we have to, somehow we have to address this. We are doing a lot of things. We have, if we have to project like we have a lot of opportunities in India, then maybe we can stop this talent trade, but we have to somehow we have to overcome this hurdle as well. And the another one is commercialization. Getting a patent is still easy than commercializing it. I can get a patent, uh, if I draft it correctly, if I have the right technology, I get a patent grant. Okay, maybe within a year or within 2 years, I get a patent grant. But what if? How can I commercialize it? For example, an individual, he got a patent in, let's say, in mobile technology. Okay, he used the existing 5G technology and everything, and he created some device. But if he is trying to commercializing that particular device, he definitely is going to fail because he has to purchase or he has to get the license of using this particular technology over uh, the bigger companies, they may not be interested in that particular technology, or at least if he or she has the manufacturing setup to start this particular manufacturing this particular device, or uh, until that, even if we have that particular setup, still people fails in commercialization. In 85,000 patents, 1% is grant, 1.5% is grant rate, and out of this 1.5% grant rate, commercialization data shows less than 5%. See how much patents we are commercializing. It's a very pathetic scenario. It's not like in US or in China. It is not the case. If they have an IP, they have the upper hand, and they try to commercialize it. But in India, even if we have any sort of IP, still we are not able to tap it. So commercialization is one of the barriers we have to address. And next thing is patent quality. Obviously, like last time I mentioned that we have to overcome this section 3K for getting a patent grant. So patent quality or the drafting quality has to be in such a way that we have to project the invention as a technical solution instead of saying that it's a mathematical output. If we project it just like a data processing, we are not going to get a patent grant. So we have to address this patent quality. And last one is trust and responsible AI. This is DPDP Act, and it talks about if we are using AI and if we are using this personal data, we have to follow this particular act. So this is one thing which we have to, or all the tech startups, those who are working in AI, they have to deal with DPDP Act as well. So these are 3 recommendations for the leaders. First thing is, we have to file patent first. If you have a particular, if your AI, if you develop an AI and if it is solving a particular technical problem, immediately file a patent application for that. If it is solving a particular technical problem, definitely we have to file a patent on it. At the stage of R&D, if you find that, okay, this could be patentable, then apply for it. Let's see what happens later. Okay, most probably this is getting grant because Indian laws are getting changed, so obviously this will get grant. So this is one thing that we have to take care. Second is India first. As I said, India is not a direct copy of West. India have different problem. We even West, if they try to implement their models, they are not going to solve this particular problem because we Indians know the problems better. And if we try to solve Indians' problem, okay, there itself we are going to tap a lot of market in Indian scenario. So obviously we have to do this for India and use this stack. We already have this AI infrastructure in place, so why not we are not using this? We have to use this AI infrastructure as well. Obviously, people does use the AI infrastructure, but maybe if we focus more on to in 2025, it is better. Like in 2020, it was worse, but now it is better. Maybe in coming years, in 2030, this may change, and we may have a better AI infrastructure. So these are some market makers, the QRAI, Niramay. These companies, they already filed a lot of patents in India. They are investing a lot in R&D, and they are trying to file patents in India, and they got success also with these filings. So concluding this, what we have to do is, from using AI, we have to build AI. Okay, from building AI, we have to protect it, and from protecting AI, we have to take it to the world. Simply using an AI model or simply talking about AI, that will not result into anything. We have to protect it, and maybe 5 years down the lane, India should be a country who doesn't use this AI models. Instead, India has to be the country who owns this AI. So uh, we have to work on this. We have to work responsibly. We have to invest a lot in AI technologies because AI is future. So let's build the AI together, and maybe the next wave of AI, let's make sure that we have a Make in India identity as well. Thank you. And this is strictly based on patent data and analytics. So we have the experts over here, so they may have a better perspective on how or where exactly AI is and how we have to take it ahead. Thank you.
Hari, I just want you back to the stage. I request Mr. Sanjay Dandekar to felicitate Mr. Harikrishnan G with a token of appreciation. Ladies and gentlemen,